Hi, my name is Carmen, and we are in Group 5. Today we are here to present recommendations that could have possibly helped Nigeria be better prepared for the devastating flood that they faced in fall 2012. Our recommendation focuses largely on preparation for and prediction of the flood. Our recommendation leverages the power of global information technology to prepare an effective emergency plan and accurate predictions for when floods may occur. Before we venture on to our recommendations, I'd like to give a bit of a background on Nigeria. It is currently the most populous country in Africa, located on the Gulf of Guinea in West Africa. Its population is approximately 174 million, with literacy rates of 61.3%. Despite its high population, Nigeria faces approximately 13.48 deaths per 1,000 people, making its death rate the 17th highest out of 231 countries in the world. Nigeria faces seasonal flash floods that unfortunately occur quite frequently, particularly between the months of May and September. These flash floods are often lethal, especially in rural areas or overcrowded slums where there is poor or non-existent drainage. In fall 2012, Nigeria saw the most lethal flash flood in 50 years. The National Emergency Management Agency reported that 7.7 million people were affected by the flooding, which included 363 deaths and 18,000 injuries. The rest of our video will be about recommendations that could have possibly helped Nigeria be better prepared for this natural disaster.
As Carmen mentioned earlier, our group thought if we prepare well, the loss from the flood will be a lot less than what Nigeria went through. In order to prepare well, we thought the first step would be predicting the flood well using high technologies. Based on our research, we were able to figure out the best way to predict floods are using remote sensing. One of the most widely used resources in remote sensing technology is satellite. Talking more specific about the use of satellite, we were able to figure out two specific satellite technologies, which are SMOS and TRMM. Firstly, SMOS is the Soil Moisture and Salinity Satellite. This technology measures moisture levels of the soil, rate of the plant growth, and salt levels in the ocean over the entire planet. It sends the gathered measurements back to Earth, where scientists use the data to predict possible flooding or extreme dry conditions. Secondly, TRMM is the Tropical Rainfall Measuring Mission. This technology also measures the amount of moisture within the Earth's soil. The satellite detects changes in microwave radiation being emitted by the ground. When the grounds are dry, it is warm, therefore more microwaves are emitted. Because the ground soaks up less moisture when it is saturated just like a sponge, it is likely that a flood could occur in areas where the ground is significantly moistened, as the soil cannot absorb any more water. Radar is also one of the widely used resources in remote sensing technology, and it detects meteorological data. Laser is also used in conjunction with radar altimeters on satellites to measure things like wind speeds and their direction and the direction of ocean currents. These altimeters are also useful in seafloor mapping, in that they are capable of measuring bulges of water caused by gravity and the varied seafloor topography. Overall, again, using these kind of high technologies to predict flood, we believe the damage that is brought from floods would definitely be lessened.
In order to prepare for future floods, we suggest the use of many different technologies to help the Nigerian people. Using GIS, or Geographical Information Systems, we would be able to capture many types of data that would be useful in case of another disaster. This system of integrated hardware, software includes charts, maps, and reports that can be used to analyze, manage, present different types of data. GIS can also analyze geographical areas and simulate events such as flooding. Using hydraulic modeling, places that would be affected can be identified and categorized as flood zones. This modeling can find water flow and replicate where large flows could be. Different levels of flood zones could also be detailed based on the rainfall and taken into consideration. People living in the flood zones can be informed so that they would know to be ready at the first sign of flood. Areas that would make for good drainage in such an event could also be found using this method. Natural outlets of water could be optimized in this way, and some flooding could be prevented. To pinpoint safe areas, topographical data and cartographic modeling could be used to find places of high elevation and stable ground. This could be ideal places to set up shelters and stations in case of emergencies. For example, concrete canvas shelters could be set up in advance so they can be deployed with ease. Safest and quickest routes from villages to these elevated shelters can then be mapped out from the flood zones, and maps could easily be distributed to the people living in the flood zones. Another preparation technique would be teaching the people of Nigeria what to do in such an event. Educational videos could be made by the Nigerian government and distributed to schools and used as public announcements, such as airplane safety videos, so that people can get the basic understanding of what to do in case a flood occurs. This is especially helpful for children who have the highest fatality rates during these incidents, the illiterate, or people who are not well off and cannot find information otherwise. Lastly, distribution of technology such as hand crank radios to households and villages that lack a secure method of flood warning could help prepare the Nigerian citizens in case of another flash flood.
Communicating with the population is important in reducing casualties during a natural disaster. We believe that this could be efficiently done with the use of websites, cell phones, and radios. We propose that the Nigerian government create an official website where people can find information about locations of shelters, evacuation routes, and a checklist for disaster preparedness. On this website, they should also have the option of subscribing to an SMS alert system, which will warn them if there's a disaster being predicted in their area. Radios could be used to both prepare people before disaster and help them guide through one as it's occurring. Periodically, radio stations should have public service announcements about safety instructions of what to do during a disaster. When something is happening, radio should also have announcements about where people should go, what they should do, and other safety things to keep in mind. We believe that with the use of technology, all countries could reduce the number of casualties during natural disasters by being more prepared and helping people be more aware.